What you're about to see will make your blood boil. While you were sitting at home trusting WWE to give you real, raw emotion, they were playing you like a fiddle. And the worst part? Two of the greatest wrestlers of this generation, AJ Styles and CM Punk, just became pieces in a game so twisted, so planned out that it makes everything you thought you knew about professional wrestling look like a lie. I'm talking about manipulation. I'm talking about corporate control at its finest. And I'm talking about how WWE just crossed a line that they can never go back from. This is WrestleScope, and what I'm about to reveal will change how you see Monday Night Raw forever. But before we dive into this betrayal, you need to understand something. If you're not subscribed to this channel, you're missing the truth that mainstream wrestling media is too scared to tell you. Hit that subscribe button right now, because what comes next, they don't want you to know. Let's go back to Monday Night Raw, January 27th, 2025. The arena is packed, fans are chanting, the energy is electric, and then it happens. AJ Styles' music hits. The Phenomenal One walks down that ramp, and you can see it in his eyes. Something's different. Something's wrong. For those of you who don't know, AJ Styles has been with WWE since 2016, 9 years of putting his body on the line, 9 years of delivering 5-star classics, 9 years of being the perfect professional while younger talent gets pushed ahead of him, 9 years of staying quiet while creative shoves him into pointless storylines. But on this night, the silence broke. AJ grabbed that microphone, and what came out wasn't scripted corporate nonsense. It was real. It was raw. It was a man who has given everything to this business, finally saying what we've all been thinking. "I'm tired," he said. "Tired of pretending. Tired of smiling for the cameras when I know that the moment I walk through that curtain, I'm just another name on a list, another body to fill time between commercials." The crowd went silent. You could hear a pin drop. And then he said something that sent shockwaves through the wrestling world. And I know I'm not the only one who feels this way. That's when CM Punk's music hit. Now, let me ask you something, and I want you to really think about this. When was the last time WWE gave us something that felt genuine? When was the last time you watched a segment and didn't think, this is so obviously scripted? The answer? You can't remember, because it's been that long. But when CM Punk walked out onto that stage, locked eyes with AJ Styles, and slowly made his way to that ring, something felt different. Something felt real. Here's where it gets insane. CM Punk, the man who walked out of WWE in 2014 because he was fed up with the corporate machine, the man who sued the company doctor, the man who said he'd never return, and then did return but on his terms, was now standing face to face with AJ Styles in the middle of that ring, and the WWE universe held its breath together. Punk took the microphone, and what he said next is something WWE leaders are probably still having emergency meetings about. AJ, you're right. You're absolutely right. And you know what the saddest part is? They're going to take what we're saying right now, this real moment, this honest conversation, and they're going to turn it into a storyline. They're going to wrap it up, produce it, and sell it back to these people like it was their idea all along. The crowd erupted, half in agreement, half in shock. But here's what they don't want you to know, Punk continued. Here's what they don't want anyone to know. We're not the only ones who feel this way. There are dozens of wrestlers in that locker room who are absolutely miserable, who are watching their dreams die in catering, who are being told they're not ready while influencers and celebrities get WrestleMania spots. AJ nodded. You could see the emotion building in his face. And then Punk said the words that made every wrestling journalist rush to their keyboards. So tonight, AJ and I are making a choice. We're either going to change this place from the inside, or we're going to burn it down trying. Now, let me stop right here and address the elephant in the room. Some of you are thinking, this is just a work. This is just WWE being clever with their storytelling. And to those people, I say this. Wake up. Let's talk about what happened after the cameras stopped rolling. According to multiple sources, and yes, I've checked these reports with people who were actually there, WWE officials were in total chaos backstage. Nobody knew if this was part of the script. Nobody knew how much of what Punk and AJ said was approved. And here's the kicker. It wasn't approved. That's right. What you saw wasn't some brilliant creative decision by Triple H. It wasn't a worked shoot that was carefully planned in production meetings. This was two veterans of the industry going off script and telling the truth. Now, WWE will never admit this. They'll spin it, they'll claim it was all part of the plan. They'll turn it into t-shirts and video packages. That's what they do. But here's what they can't spin away. The emotion in AJ Styles' voice when he talked about feeling undervalued, the fire in CM Punk's eyes when he called out the corporate machine, the genuine shock on the faces of everyone at ringside who realized they were watching something unscripted. You can't fake that kind of authenticity. You can't create that kind of moment. And that's what makes this so dangerous for WWE,
box has been opened. Now, every time a wrestler grabs a microphone, fans are going to wonder, is this real? Are they shooting? Or is this just another scripted promo? WWE has built its entire empire on controlling the narrative, on making sure that everything you see is carefully put together, carefully produced, and carefully designed to make you feel exactly what they want you to feel. But AJ and Punk just destroyed that illusion. And the WWE leaders, they're terrified. Now, let's dig deeper into why this matters. Professional wrestling has always walked a fine line between reality and fiction. It's what makes it beautiful. It's what makes it unique. When done right, wrestling can make you believe in something that you know isn't real. But somewhere along the way, WWE forgot how to balance that line. They became so obsessed with control, with scripting every word, planning every gesture, managing every second of television, that they squeezed all the life out of their product. Think about the greatest moments in wrestling history. Austin 3:16 says, "I just whipped your ass," unscripted. CM Punk's pipe bomb promo in 2011, barely scripted, and the parts that weren't scripted are what made it legendary. Daniel Bryan's yes movement, organic fan reaction that WWE initially fought against. The greatest moments in this industry happen when wrestlers are allowed to be themselves, when they're allowed to tap into real emotion, when they're allowed to blur that line between character and reality. But WWE doesn't want that anymore. They want control. They want everything sanitized, PG-rated, and sponsor-friendly. And that's why what AJ Styles and CM Punk did is so revolutionary. They reminded us what wrestling should be. They reminded us that when you put real emotion in front of a camera, magic happens. They reminded us that the best storylines are the ones rooted in truth. But here's where it gets even more complicated. How do you book this going forward? If you're a Triple H right now, you're in an impossible position. If you punish AJ and Punk, you prove their point. You prove that WWE is exactly the controlling, creativity-killing machine they said it was. But if you embrace what they did, you open the door for other wrestlers to go off script. You lose control of your narrative. You risk chaos. So what does WWE do? They do what they always do. They take it over. They absorb it. They turn this rebellion into a storyline that they control. And you know what? We're going to let them, because we're desperate for anything that feels remotely authentic. This isn't the first time something like this has happened in wrestling, not even close. Let's go back to 1996, WCW, the formation of the NWO. When Hulk Hogan turned heel and joined Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, it was shocking, it was controversial, and it was rooted in the same blurring of reality and fiction. Hogan was playing with the idea that he was tired of being the good guy, tired of doing what was expected of him. Sound familiar? Or how about ECW in the mid-90s? The entire promotion was built on this idea of wrestlers speaking truth to power, of going against the established order, of giving fans something that felt real and dangerous. Or the WrestleMania Wars themselves. When WCW started beating WWE in the ratings, what did WWE do? They created the Attitude Era. They let their wrestlers be edgy. They let them be real. They let them blur that line. And it worked. It saved the company. But here's the tragedy. WWE won the Monday Night Wars, and then they forgot everything that made them successful. They became the same corporate, sanitized, creativity-killing machine that they once fought against. And now, 25 years later, their own wrestlers are fighting back against them. It's poetic, really. CM Punk, who already led one rebellion against WWE in 2011, is now leading another one in 2025. AJ Styles, who spent most of his career in TNA and New Japan being allowed to be himself, is now fighting for that same freedom in WWE. This is history repeating itself. This is the natural cycle of professional wrestling. The rebels become the establishment gets comfortable, new rebels emerge, the cycle continues. But here's what's different this time. The fans are smarter. We have access to more information. We can see through the BS faster than ever before. We know when something is scripted. We know when something is a work. And we know when something is real. And what AJ and Punk did on Raw, that felt real. Let's talk about you for a second. Why do you watch professional wrestling? Is it for the perfectly choreographed matches that all look the same? Is it for the scripted promos that sound like they were written by a committee? Is it for the predictable storylines that you can see coming from a mile away? No, you watch wrestling for those rare moments when something feels real, when a wrestler grabs that microphone and you think, are they allowed to say that? When two competitors look at each other in the ring and you can feel the genuine tension, when a storyline taps into something authentic and you can't help but be invested. Those are the moments that keep us coming back. Those are the moments we talk about with our friends. Those are the moments we'll remember years from now. And what happened on Raw this week, that was one of those moments. But here's my question for you, and I really want you to think about this. Do we as fans deserve more moments like this? Or have we become so comfortable, so willing to accept mediocrity, that WWE knows they can feed us garbage and will still show up every Monday night? Think about how many times you've watched Raw and thought, this is boring, this is the same thing we saw last week, why am I wasting my time? And yet you keep watching, you keep buying the tickets, you keep subscribing to Peacock, you keep buying the merchandise. You're enabling the very thing you claim to hate. And WWE knows this, they're counting on this. They know that as long as they give you one good moment every few months, you'll stick around through all the trash. So when AJ Styles and CM Punk stand in that ring and call out the corporate machine, they're not just speaking for themselves, they're speaking for every fan who's tired of being taken for granted. They're speaking for you. The question is, are you going to listen, or are you going to go right back to accepting whatever WWE feeds you? Now Now let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. What AJ and Punk did doesn't just affect WWE, it affects the entire wrestling industry, because every promotion is watching, every wrestler is watching, every fan is watching, and they're all asking the same question: what happens next? If WWE punishes AJ and Punk, it sends a message to every wrestler in every promotion: stay in line, don't rock the boat, do what you're told, or suffer the consequences. But if WWE embraces what they did, if they turn this into a storyline and actually gives these guys agency and power, it could start a revolution across the entire industry. Imagine if wrestlers in AEW started demanding more creative freedom. Imagine if wrestlers in New Japan started speaking out about being underused. Imagine if wrestlers in every promotion started saying, we're not going to accept this anymore. We're not going to be silent while our careers are wasted. That's terrifying for wrestling promoters, because the entire business model of professional wrestling is built on control. Promoters have all the power, wrestlers have very little. But when wrestlers start organizing, when they start speaking out, that power balance shifts. And trust me, every